She approves of your daughter's twerking to get to college. Alright, so we're going to read this article. Alrighty, so there's this Mallissa Harris, two last names Perry, as you know her as, the pro-black half-breed, the pinch-nosed Negro, as Mr. Pastor Manning likes to call her. She's been in the news saying a lot of crazy things as usual, but and I got a couple of videos to, pontificate on those things. But the first one, we're gonna talk about this segment she did with this intellectual twerker who studied the craft and the political social elements of twerking amongst the Afro-Caribbeans. Yeah. But we're gonna read this article from Dr. Moise Watkins. I'm not a fan of Dr. Moise Watkins either, but he definitely doesn't like Mallissa Harris, two last names Perry, and he went in an article. So we're gonna read some of it because it's long as hell. But I'm gonna try to read to get the point of what he was saying. I agree with the narrative of what he was saying in the article. But yeah. So this is some of Dr. Moise Watkins' article. I admit as a father I am taken back to see my fellow scholar Mallissa Harris, two last names Perry, I put that in there, encouraging young women to twerk her way through college or school. As a part of a segment on MSNBC, the pro-black half-breed congratulated University Tech student Kamara Parker, or she calls herself Kamara Carter. Maybe she wants to be Beyonce too, I don't know, on applying for the Turkey scholarship that was offered by Juicy J. Now, just to interject in here, Mallissa Harris, last name Perry, admitted that when she first, when Juicy J put out the little, I'm giving out a $50,000 scholarship to see if you can twerk, send me the video, she didn't like that. But ironically enough, she likes it now that this female has entered in, and I guess they feminized it. I guess they did something to it. This proves to you that their narrative is always, if you can't beat them, join them. But back to the article. During the interesting conversation, the highly intelligent Parker explains how a trip overseas helped her understand the cultural context of twerking is that deep, which led her to feel a little bit better about being an exotic dancer. Now, Miss Kim Carter, whoever her name is, she claims that she's not an exotic dancer or a stripper, but I'm confused because in a segment, she admitted that she was dancing for school money, so I don't know. And that a lot of people were looking at her sideways. So if you're not a stripper or an exotic dancer, then why do people feel some type of way about you on campus? And why are people shaming you on campus if you're not a stripper? Alright. Miss Carter, or Parker, whoever her name is, had perhaps an unfair subject to the ridiculous and shame that might come from any person that shows their body for money. Dr. Boyce Watkins continues, I'll have to confess, I'm not that sure how my mother would feel if I paid for college by shaking my penis for women instead of studying all night and working 3 jobs. Perhaps I would have argued that I was empowering myself and that the Wiener Wobble contest I won allowed me to pursue my PhD in finances. This argument might not have worked because at the end of the day, my mother would have reminded me that even as a man, I should be earning with my big head and not my other one. But that's just my family. It's clear that the comments of Mallissa Harris, two last names Berry, during the segment, that she may not be familiar with the rapper Juicy J. She's familiar with him because she said when she heard about it, she did not like it because that's the whole what it boils down to. Gloria Steinem said it in that I think it's a VH1 special when it was talking about the sexual revolution. I had the clip, but I can't find it. Where Gloria stated that she did not like the whole, promiscuity thing of females, and she said she didn't like it because that gave more men access to women. So of course she wasn't team promiscuity, but she's the Wicked Witch herself. She understands that the culture changes, and she understands that today's women find that liberating, so she's on that bandwagon, and we'll get back to that later. And just like Mallissa Harris, last name Perry, when she saw that Juicy J was doing it, she probably thought, oh, this is misogynist pig. But now this dude, this chick is taking advantage of that, and I guess she feminized it. Now she's, oh yay, twerking has cultural benefits, and it's nothing. It's not just a sexual dance. It has meaning from the motherland. Bullshit. All right, so we're gonna continue. Juicy J has an outstanding lyrical ability, but he is not exactly the most enlightened artist when it comes to his view on women. See, this is where Dr. Moist Walking started getting moist. In his song offering the Twerking College Scholarship, where he tells women to clap it for money, he also reminds them that they can give him oral sex while he rolls up a joint and refers to them as itches and O's, and thinks that our daughters are about as worthless as used toilet paper. Again, you know, uh, he's going into his, I guess he used to be what he was told a misogynist, and he's doing his best of his ability to not be that anymore. But yeah, Dr. Moist Watkins. This is not the kind of man who I would want my daughters to be financially dependent upon. So I'm curious to understand in what way young Chimera's life is going to go to be better off if she's encouraged to go to men like UCJ to shake her behind for money. This goes beyond gender because I've never encountered my son, if I raise one, to use his body to become financially independent on a woman who has absolutely no respect or appreciation for men. As an empowered woman, Chimera should be out protesting men like UCJ and not feeding into the ridiculous, degrading entertainment empire. Nope, it's only bad. Mallissa Harris, who last name Perry, has a white mother. I'll read that again. Mallissa Harris, two last name Perry, has a white mother. I'll say that one more time. Mallissa Harris, two last names Perry, has a white mother, which might possibly lead her to forget that most black women don't have the luxury of taking the Miley Cyrus, Kim Kardashian road to fame. Fortunately, just ask Lawrence Fishburne's poor daughter of Montana, who was naive enough to consider Kardashian to be a role model. When black women shake it for a living, it's a bit difficult to shake off and move forward, as if you never lived that life in the past. Is this fair? No. I don't get that narrative of it not being fair. Why would you want to look at bad behavior and do the same thing and want the same outcome? You should be glad you can't do stupid stuff like that, in my opinion. But as we all know that Miley Cyrus were a black woman, she wouldn't be the richest entertainer in America. By the way, Miley Cyrus loves twerking her non-existent behind at the Juicy J concerts. I'm not kidding, he interjects. It had to be a racial thing. Here's my final point. Those who support and defend twerking as a part of art form often point to the long historical roots of seductive dance in Africa and the Caribbean. I am a healthy heterosexual male. I fully understand how most men can appreciate such pleasant movement of a woman's body. I do concur. But why is it that just because twerking has historical roots in Africa, I don't believe that bull, that it is a good thing? There's a lot of things that are historical in Africa, that customs that you ain't gonna know about. I'm gonna just say no cup. But you ain't trying to react a lot of those things they did and they went through. Take a cultural anthropology class. Some of the things they was doing was straight moist as hell. But I'm gonna move forward. This would imply that African gender heresies are unconditionally perfect template for what we want to see in the United States. Does this mean that we are admitted that women are always respected and threatened well and treated well in countries they have been twerking for thousands of years? I don't think so. The course of many beautiful things about American culture is we know this, but it is also continued. Women have been stoned for being raped, where the virgins girls have been kidnapped and raped by men with HIV who think they can get cured. I've heard that before. I wonder if it's true. The point is that if we are going to defend twerking, you can't just defend it by saying that they do it in Africa too. Agreed. Here's the bottom line. When you're talking to your girls about twerking or anything else that has to do with their minds and bodies, I offer them the full rights and free expression. I agree with that. But freedom also requires accountability, which is sometimes often forgot. Depending upon the context within each expression of yourself, There always going to be a reaction and consequences that might be beyond your control. These reactions should be taken in consideration when deciding whether or not to shake your behind and flip up your hair to pull out your college degree. If my daughters chose to twerk in the bedroom with their husbands or their committed boyfriends, God bless them. But if they are twerking for Juicy J in the general public, that might come with some unforeseen complexities. To encourage girls to twerk without consideration of the context is like telling a soldier to shoot a gun in a mall. The outcome might be very different from what he has seen in the battlefield. I don't get that analogy at all. Mallissa Harris' two last name pairs owes the young woman an apology. I say Kim Mera is intelligent enough to see that she can go through school without twerking her clothes off and twerking for random men, especially not the men who think like Juicy J. The black woman deserves to be respected. No. Women who carry themselves respectfully deserve to be respected. Black women don't just get a pass because they're black women. Chill. Alright, so that's the narrative. Dr. Moist went on his, his Good Samaritan rant there. I agree with the narrative that he said at the end, though. Basically, feminists want women to have that anonymity, to be freaks, to be promiscuous, to sell their bodies for sex, do all that. But what they do not want, and you'll hear this in a clip later, is they don't want women to have to face the consequences for doing that. The girl admitted that she, because she did that, a lot of people weren't taking her seriously. Not just men, but women, other students as well. So, that's the trade-off right there. You want to twerk and explore the roots and yada, 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 and all that bullcrap you made up, but everybody's not going to accept your worldview. Not everybody's going to take you seriously. And that's not their fault. That's yours. You took the choice to do that, and people don't respect that, and people don't find that credible. And you can't force people to make it credible, which is what feminists are trying to do. So, yeah. But let's listen to what Mallissa Harris, two last names Perry, had to say in this segment real quick. Alright, that wasn't Miss Mallissa Harris' two last name Perry. My bad. It sounds like her though.
Members of the Southern hip-hop group 3-6 Mafia accepted the Academy Award for Best Original Song for It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp from the film Hustle and Flow. But more recently, Juicy J has fashioned himself a philanthropist of sorts when he offered a $50,000 college scholarship to one lucky college student. Now, I have to admit, I was a bit distressed about the single requirement for applicants to the scholarship. Film a video twerking and send it to a video of yourself twerking to the Juicy J song called Scholarship. But my distress turned to delight when, at my Gender, Sexuality, and Hip-Hop conference last week, Professor Trevor Lindsay of Ohio State University highlighted how one of those students used her video application to teach a lesson in feminism, and why she's not just a twerker, but a twerk scholar. The young woman who submitted that video, twerk scholar and University of Texas student Kamari Carter, is joining me now from Austin, Texas. Nice to have you, Kamari.
Hi.
So
thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Tell me your story a little bit. Why did you enter the Juicy J Twerk Scholarship?
Well, I was coming back, returning from a study abroad program that I got to do this summer in Bluefields, Nicaragua, where I studied the politics and culture of Afro-Caribbeans. And during that time, I did ethnographic research, independent research, along with studying the politics and culture of Afro-Caribbeans, focusing on the ways that twerking can be empowering for Costeñas. And it was an amazing experience because I got to see that they do twerk in another part of the world. And once I got back from that program and returned to the U.S., everywhere I looked, all on the TV screens and the airports is Miley Cyrus twerking. And I was like, whoa, talk about culture shock. Like, this is crazy. This is a revolution of twerking now. Everybody knows about it. And so
Kamari, I want to get in on this a little bit because you were talking about going and studying twerk in a foreign culture, but part of what I was interested in here is you talked about the fact that in your own experience you'd had to do work as an exotic dancer in order to help to pay for college, and so this was you being empowered to do what you had to do to pay for your schooling, but then we're having trouble like finding folks on campus to respect you as the intellectual and the feminist and the student leader that you are.
Right. I'm very active on the University of Texas at Austin in the black community because there's not a very large percentage of black students at UT, and coming from a majority black high school or not majority black environment and coming to that to UT, I was very intimidated, and I wanted to immerse myself in the community and make friends and be accepted by my peers like everybody would like to be. And when I first got to UT, a lot of students were hearing about me or, you know, they hearing the rumors, oh, so you're Kamari.
Right.
And I just felt like I had to prove myself and defend myself. And I became a part of every black organization at the University of Texas and a really strong community leader. I was the political action chair of the Black Student Alliance last year, and I participated in everything, and now when I heard about this opportunity, I had to take it.
Pause for me real quick, because I do want to bring in Farrah Griffin here for a moment. So Farrah, so much of your work is around, so, you know, part of what we love about Kamari's story, she's clearly talented, and I mean, the video that she made was extraordinary, both in her own dancing skills as well as her analytic skills, and yet she was managing and coping with questions of shame. And I wonder about sort of how within our communities, racialized or not, we can make sure we're not shaming young women for being part of what is actually international cultural ways of presenting ourselves and our bodies.
Right. Well, you know, no one's written more eloquently about shame than you have, Mallissa. But I do think that one of the things that Kamari says that's really fascinating is that she can educate us that twerking, part of the problem is that twerking that became so popular with Miley Cyrus is taken out of context. Yes. And here's a young woman, and I think most even black Americans think of it in the context of a certain kind of overly sexualized dance in a strip club, and she's saying no, it's actually cultural. There's this whole cultural context that gives meaning to it beyond its excision and its commodification.
Kamari, in Austin, Texas, we've got to go, but I want to just suggest two things. First thing I want to suggest is you've got to watch, if you haven't seen it yet, Beyonce's video Blue, because she's doing the same work that you were doing.
I just watched it this morning.
Did you see it where she's in Brazil and she's learning the whole twerk culture?
I did, yeah.
So who knows, maybe she'll send, you know, money for a scholarship, but also I just want you to know, I just really want you to know that that your video became so central in our gender, sexuality, and feminism conference, and my bet is that if you contact Professor Lindsay at Ohio State, maybe if you're at all interested in graduate study, I just know somebody who totally gets you there.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
All right.
I appreciate that.
Thanks so much, Kamari Carter in Austin, Texas, and Farrah Griffin here at the table. Thank you for being with us this morning. Everybody else is going to...
All right, so this is Mrs. Kamari Carter's Facebook, and you know, she's getting her little 15 minutes of fame. Did the feminist shave under her arm right? No, I don't know. I thought they didn't shave. But yeah, she's getting her little 15 minutes of fame, and everybody's hopping on her bandwagon, talking about how inspiring she is. She got the definition of twerking on her page. But I'm gonna read some of the comments from the Your Black World, which is Dr. Boyce's blog. Some people said some things. Let's see what they said. Dave Jones says, some of us are aware that Boyce hates Mallissa, so I suggest that you listen to the interview for yourself. This young lady's entered the contest to protest how women are viewed. What? She didn't say nothing about that in the damn video. What is this dude talking about? Mallissa didn't support this young lady, as Boyce said. Yes, Mallissa did. Mallissa, in the beginning of the segment, said that she wasn't happy when Juicy J put out the offer for this scholarship for twerking, but she changed her opinion because of this female. So you're wrong, David Jones. The support was for her decision to speak up and not be ashamed for who she was as an individual who happens to be an adult, I may add. That's absolutely nothing I got from that segment. She was team I approve twerking to pay for your college tuition. Nevertheless, boys shouldn't be so quick to judge. There's that judging word. I'm done reading that dude's comment. There we go. Another comment says, I agree, Mallissa, while Dr. Boyce needs to stop shaming women for how they get their money and take care of ourselves. Dr. Cornel West tried to stop Mallissa Harris Perry from gaining tenure at Princeton too. Dr. Boyce's brains last a lack of death. So she's just attacking that him and not dealing with the content of the article. Another comment says, Boyce has a point. Mallissa has a bad habit of circling the wagging around women like this in the so-called name of feminism. And it's true, whenever women can profit and benefit from selling their own bodies and not using their brains, but I guess they're saying she is using her brains, they're for it. When men profit from it, they're not for it. That's the only, if it boy, you want to ask the question, did feminism create the promiscuous sexual behavior? Of course, it's a byproduct of it. But no, these lesbians and man-hating women did not want women to give more access of themselves to men. That was not the agenda or the goal. It's a byproduct of it, but it was not the agenda. So, if you look at it, they were protesting hard about, Playboy and Hugh Hefner back in the 70s. And, well, eventually, what made them stop protesting was when women started to write those sex novels. And when the female who did the female version of Playboy, whatever it's called, Hustler, I don't know what it is, but that's when things changed. So it was never about, these men are oppressive and the problem was that Hugh Hefner was a man making money off of female sexuality. They didn't like that. But once females started making money off their own sexuality, they were cool with it. That's just what it all boils down to. And this poster, Mark Harris, is correct about that. But yet, I finished reading what he's saying. It said in the so-called name of feminism, but yet we'll judge rappers like Juicy J for having these type of women in their videos. And of course, we all remember the argument of these men put these women in these clothes and they degrade these women and they're just evil to these women who choose to get paid to be in these videos, but it's still men's fault for picking these women to be in the videos. But now that women are, I guess, taken their degradedness to another level, now it's okay, and feminists are championing these women, whatever. I was thinking about too, Beyonce. Beyonce is like the female Michael Jackson. I know they both be lighting their damn skin, but like she is to the point where she has control of her image and everything. She doesn't have to sell sex, so you can't blame the industry. And there's an article where it's saying that is, of course, some feminists still blame that on patriarchy, obviously. But she is the master of her own domain. She controls her image. She doesn't have to be half naked in freaking leopard skin suits and dance and all that. But she chooses to do that anyways because it sells albums. So there you have it. You can't get mad at Juicy J for having women in their videos. Mallissa needs to realize that you can't have it both ways. You can't get mad at the men and yet co-sign the women for getting money for doing the same things. I wanted to read that because he's absolutely correct. Another brother says, got to start referring to these women as queens and proper use of the term. And he's talking to Dr. Boyce Watkins because, women who carry themselves respectfully get respect. Women who don't want respect. Another comment says, Mallissa is an idiot, point blank, period. If I were Alexander Dancer, then you are a whore. There's no argument. Everybody knows you are a whore and you are easy. Like Sunday morning, end of the story. Another person comment responding to that saying, your description could be even more incorrect. Every exotic dancer is not a whore. They're all police. And there are men and women who have a distinguished career as an exotic dancer and it helped them achieve. Exotic dancer does not equate to prostitution. Yeah, there's no sex in the champagne room, not at all. Never, no, nah. Someone responding to her and says, doesn't equate as self-respect neither. Females losing their damn minds. That's correct. And feminism are encouraging such behavior. because feminists and liberals encourage negative behavior. One more comment. A big supporter of Dr. Harris Perry. I love her show, which is both informative and refreshing. I also find it to be an oasis for black political thought, intellectuals, and feminists. Finally, Dr. Harris' heart is in the open, and I love her for it. I'm aware of her long-time standing animosity with Cornel West, Mallissa, and Boyce, and what I believe is his agenda is his general dislike of African American women, particularly those who are churchgoers. I don't want to support his criticism of Mallissa Harris, two last names Perry anyway. I must admit, however, that I was given a pause by the Twerking scholarship episode. The young lady was intelligent and empowered, and I am happy for her. She should be. For the support of her legitimization of Juicy J's Twerking scholarship. However, it was ridiculous, and really, our young women have to shake their asses to get to college to get scholarships. This is presented an okay. Rather than requiring our women to shake their behinds for money, there should be many other criteria that we should have them up to. Use Juicy J. That actually does not objectify women. It is like saying, I will help you get up, but you must clap that ass to make it first. I must first put you in your place. I know she's going to some feminist rant. I'm not going to read the rest of that. Anyways, another comment says the dances done by women of color in the African continent and Brazil are totally different. They are done for different reasons. Please do not compare cultural ceremony dances routines with the trifling, attention-seeking, twerking Negro European, one word, black women in America do for V money. It justifies their trashy behavior. However, if certain black women want to promote this filth as culturally wholesome, go for it. The world is your stage. However, be aware that you are no longer taken seriously by anyone and is viewed as a sex object. You promoted it. I'll finish with that comment because he's on point. You can't make people be team twerking is a cultural, African, social, political, blah 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 nonsense. You can't do that. People are gonna call you on your BS. You're just twerking. It's for arousal, and it might be like Zumba. You might break a sweat. Who knows? I'm done.